Good morning, good afternoon. It is Erev Shabbos Kodesh. It is a triple header. Some people having triple kugels tomorrow. Some people having no kugels tomorrow. Yeah. So we have Kodesh, you have Shkolim, you have Truma, all rolled up into one. So tomorrow's the big day. Tomorrow's the big one. So make sure I come to Truma on time. Well, okay. Okay. So first Truma. So we'll have all the can we talk about, and it's kind of cliche to talk about the Elrond, but we'll talk about the Elrond and the Kruvim. So the Elrond we had, so we know there's many miracles in the base of Mikdash. So you had the meat didn't spoil, the smoke went exactly right. The Kippur, the Kohanim were never tamei. People never said they wanted to leave Yerushalayim. All these great miracles that took place. But there's other miracles that kind of happened, and question exactly why they weren't mentioned. They mentioned the Gemara, but not in the Mishnah and Pirkei Avos. But one miracle was, well, several miracles. First of all, was the Kruvim. We know the Kruvim were the faces were children, and the Kruvim, the Gemara says that their faces they faced each other. But when the Jews did not do what Hashem wanted, they turned away from each other. They couldn't look at each other. So that's a miracle. That's something. The other miracle is that it was really heavy. If you do the math, which I actually did not do, but I did ChatGPT, which is close to doing the math, is it puts the weight of the Oron about 4,000 pounds, literally the size of a car or a large van, or a small van. So that's another question itself, is how could they move it? They'd move it up. And so maybe you can answer that's not one of the 10 because no one saw it, perhaps. The Aron, people didn't see it. It was in you couldn't see that daily. Not too people saw the Aron in their lifetime. But the truth is, it was carried for 40 years. It was carried place to place before it got to Yerushalayim. Um, so that's a miracle too. And the Gemara says that the Aron, no sayis, no so. The Aron, Gemara, fancy sota, carried the people carrying it. So those are also miracles that took place in the base of Mikdash. But it's not mentioned. It's a pretty big one. That's a pretty big one. It's heavy. Heavy gold. The wood wasn't the scary part, but gold is really heavy and it's made out of a crazy amount of gold. It's coated with gold. The sticks were coated with gold. There were boxes of gold. Just the kaporis, just the top part, and the kruvim, 700, 800 pounds. I mean, talking about really heavy stuff. And all the pictures we have of people carrying it. Um, they don't seem to use a crane. Um, so we talk about the Kruvim, what's the point of the Kruvim, why children. So the Rav Shemesh talks about very interesting is kaporis is like parochet, is like kaporis, kapora, a kapara. So it's served as a kapora, and miksha means beaten. So it's literally sitting on top of the aron. No other, no other of the kalim that is there. They had a crown around Mizbeach and around the shulchan. But as far as two big angels on top and a kaporis, something that was covering the aron, was on top of the aron. And Marv Shemesh just talks about tshuva. Kaporis is kapara, meaning that before you do Torah, after Torah, it's important to do tshuva. It's important to look at your actions. It's important to what you're going through, and make sure you're approaching it the right way. You're leaving it the right way. Um, one of the difficult things when you learn Torah and you're learning more and more, and you're becoming an expert in it, as friends have told me. Um, there's a sense that it's look at me. I have all this. I'm better than the person. I know this better. I can explain this better. I give over Chabura, Daf Yomi, all these things. That's also a pretty big deal. So the point is to go into the learning, make sure that you're approaching it the right kavanas, no averos. It's a time for tshuva, learning the Torah and connecting with Hashem. It's almost Yom Kippur. It's almost like Yom Kippur. Literally, you're going to approach and be attached to Hashem, the words of Hashem, attached to Hashem. And therefore, before you learn Torah, it's a great thing to talk about tshuva. And you finish it. Also, you finish with tshuva like a tinok ben yoma, We know children, no sins. There's no avers for children. So therefore, according to Marva Shemesh, the Kruvim, which look like children, is the metaphor to have a person should be like a child without avonos. Fine. I was on the plane just a few hours ago, and Rabbi Farhi, Shlomo Farhi from Chazak on the Elam, the different Torah is so interesting that the Kruvim children, meaning this is the future, meaning children are, as the song says, children of the future, um, and and therefore this is a big lesson for us is to literally hold them up high and to dedicate Torah and what they're doing in the right way, the right manner, as this symbolizes Torah, our future. We know that children sometimes got nevuah. We know that Mordechai, sometimes the Tanam would ask the children to say, what did you learn in school today? What did you learn today? What's happening? Sometimes children, because they have no avonos and they're not tamei, sometimes they have this nevuah and they're the most uh, pure Torah. The other, the other interesting thing he mentioned is about the Oron, about the miracle of the Oron, was, as Mar says, it carried the people carrying the Oron. And he quoted Rabbi Galinsky, Yitzhak Galinsky, who made an interesting comment, is that we actually see that it was impossible for few people to carry. It weighed as much as a car, literally thousands of pounds. And he says that sometimes we have these moments in our life when we look at things we want to accomplish, ruchnius, gashmius. And if you look at a ruchnius project, some people have an idea, they want to do something for children at risk, and some people have an idea they want to collect for people in Eretz Yisrael. People want to schlep things for soldiers. In my community, there's bake-a-thons for the soldiers, and people are visiting soldiers and things like that. And it's difficult. It's huge undertaking sometimes. Sometimes we bite off more than we could chew. We think we're going to do X, and all of a sudden we get into it, and it's huge. It takes more people, takes more involvement, and sometimes we could do it. Sometimes Hashem gives us this koach to actually move it, even though other areas of our life, whether it's work or other things, we have obstacles or can't do it. When it comes to ruchnius things and chesed projects and Torah projects, we can actually accomplish a lot more. And that's this lesson there by Galinsky mentioned. Just like the Aron, which seemingly one person, 5 people, 6 Levium couldn't carry 4,000 pounds of gold and wood, but it came time to carry the Aron in the midbar. Not only was it carrying it, but it carried them. They had no effort to do this. And this is literally the lesson that he wants to talk about. And he also mentioned that his Rabbi Farhi mentioned that in Beis Mikdash, in Mishkan, there are very few things there. Literally, yeah, you had in the Mishkan, you had menorah, you had a shulchan, you had mizbeach. That's it. Hashkadashim, Aron, that was it. Even if you want to say the Aron, but the crew took up all the space. You go to someone's house, there's more than 3 things in there. There's more than 4 things or one thing. And Rabbi Farr, he mentioned, is when it comes time to take care of things that are important, focus on small things. Focus on one thing. Just like the Oron. There was one thing in Kosh Kadashim. No table, no chairs. The Kohen couldn't sit. Kings couldn't sit. There was very specific, very set tasks, and focus on that. Because Rabbi Farr, he said, when it came to the Kruvim, which looked like children, it was the only thing in the Kodesh Kodashim, meaning very careful. You want to focus on one thing and one thing at a time. When you're working about children, focus on children. So he mentioned people go on vacations. 10 days a year, kids are off from school. Take the kids on vacation, spend time with them, and don't do other things while you're supposed to be with the children, with your tefillah. Don't do other things with davening. That's the time for tefillah. Focus on one thing. We see many times people that kind of trying to do many things. No judgments, but some people, don't have time to learn really during the day or during the week. So sometimes davening's only 2, 3 minutes a day to kind of open up the shnis. I get that, but in ideal world, the perfect world, you have 30, 40, 50 minutes of davening for tefillah. Focus on that. Trying to accomplish davening, Zarshatz, I do dav, And during Kabbanos, I'm doing Mishnah and something else that usually doesn't work. And the lesson he wants to say is Kodesh Kodashim was one Aron Torah. Focus on one thing at a time. Shabbat Shalom, Chodesh Tov.